guys? It's Kenny Wood Crazy here. Today we're doing the bottom 10 coasters on my list. Here at number 10, we have Tempesto. Tempesto was an all-around decent coaster, I'll say so. It wasn't that good, but at the same time it wasn't that bad. Still better than Dark Coaster. Don't know how Dark Coaster's actually that bad as it looks. But honestly, Tempesto, made by Premier Rides, took me a second to remember as that. Skyrocket 2 model. But honestly, Tempesto really wasn't that bad. I got one moment of airtime, which I'm quite sad about. As of course, was on a version. Don't know how that out of all places that managed to get airtime would be an inversion, but it is what it is. And honestly, Tempesto wasn't that bad of a coaster in my opinion. They could have done better, but overall, Tempesto is Tempesto. I mean, the theming goes well with it. The color, I like the coloring too, of the track and all that. But honestly, coming up here right at this version is where I got the most airtime, surprisingly. They should get rid of the comfort collars, just like the Icebreaker. This coaster really doesn't need comfort collars. That's my biggest takeaway on this coaster. But overall, Tempesto was mid to iffy at best. If it was for since the comfort collars, if they took away the comfort collars, it would be way better than it was now. Here at number 9, from Hershey Park, we shall have Jolly Rancher Remix. Yes, it's quite well rated, I say, for what it looked like. I mean, as I did tell you guys last year several times, I believe, one of my friends got sick on this coaster because the tunnel kind of got dizzy and all that. Don't know what other words would be best to describe it. But honestly, Jolly Rancher Remix, you're supposed to smell flavor Jolly Rancher. I got sour apple, never smelt it. I don't know if it didn't affect me or the smell didn't quite hit as hard as it should have been. But honestly, Jolly Rancher Remix was kind of terrible as a boomerang coaster. I mean, don't get me wrong, boomerang coasters look cool and all that. But going off of last year, how it said it should stay a Sidewinder, it should have. But don't get me wrong, the color on the track and sports look nice. I mean, let's see here. Thing with Jolly Rancher Remix, really wasn't an all-around good coaster. I mean, they could have done way better than they did here. But overall, Jolly Rancher Remix kind of wasn't the best, as I said. They could have done better. They could easily tear it down, make it look nicer and all that, than what they have here, and just add a tunnel and rename it. That's what they've done. And overall, that was kind of terrible, and they should have never done that. And that was essentially Jolly Rancher Remix in a nutshell. But essentially, they could have done way better than they did, and I know they could have. And the thing is, Hershey Park has all that money, where the point they decided to RMC Wildcats Revenge a year later. But other than that, that is Jolly Rancher Remix. Here at number 8, from Busch Gardens Williamsburg, we have Dark Coaster. Just like what I was saying, Tempesto. Dark Coaster is another multi-launch coaster by Intamin. 2 Intamin multi-launch coasters in Busch Gardens. Don't know why they have several different multi-launch coasters there. They really don't need that, but not Tempesto. Sorry about that. Dark Coaster really deserves a good bit of hate, in my opinion, even though it's kind of like all-rounded. Don't know why I keep on going back to Tempesto. We were done with that. Dark Coaster, it's all indoor. Probably the longest way I had all day because it was an indoor coaster. I did not like that. But honestly, Dark Coaster done way better. Yes, my camera can pick it up a good job. But overall, Tempesto really wasn't that bad. It's more of the fact that it could have performed better in that park, and it was terrible. Kind of rough. I mean, the seats weren't good. I got crammed into the seats. I didn't like that. I wish they could have done seats that were more spread out and all that. I mean, having a 6'3" frame, it's kind of hard to fit in coaster seats. That's why a lot of my higher rank coasters are more fitting for my height, which I like. But honestly, they could have done way better to seat and range it. And that's why Tempesto was kind of terrible, and I didn't like how it's set up and all that. But overall, They could have done way better tempesto, and they know it. So, Intamin, please get back and fix tempesto up for me, please, and thank you. And that is tempesto. I mean dark coasters. I don't know how many times I said tempesto, but this is dark coaster, not tempesto. Tempesto was higher up in this list. All right, next one. The sixth worst coaster on this list from Kennywood, the worst one here. Essentially, I have all the mega rides. Is Exterminator. Yes, Exterminator. It's getting more rough. They took out the interior last year, but it's back this year. So I don't understand why they take it out for a year and then bring it back in. And I thought last year they were removing it, but I guess not. They don't want to put any money to reventilate it. They decide to fix up the queue line, but not fix up the coaster itself. Don't know why. I think it's stupid. I'm probably next year going to see this coaster lower in the list if they don't do anything this off season to fix it. Because I always get one ride a year on this coaster. That's always my goal. See if they fix it or not. But this coaster's getting worse by the year, and Kennywood needs to do something to fix it. Nothing else to say. This coaster is terrible. It gets worse by the year. It's not a good family coaster in my opinion. It's just a dark, wild mouse, and I don't like that. So fix it up, please. So in my personal opinion, Kennywood needs to fix this up and make it better within the next 3 years. That's all I'm giving them before this coaster goes to the bottom of the list and it stays down there for the rest of its history and for the rest of forever until I die. But anyways, this is Exterminator, and the fun part was the spinning part. Now the fifth worst coaster, but honestly it should be up one from Hershey Park, is Laugh Track. Don't know why, not think about it. Laugh Track is lower than Exterminator. But after this video, I'm probably going to end up flipping those two because Exterminator is worse. I didn't realize that until now. But anyways, Laugh Track was honestly better than Exterminator. It spin the whole time. Don't get me wrong. The color hurts my head because it's like funhouse coaster. And all that neon lights and that dark area kind of hurts your head. I mean, kind of rough coaster too, so there's really nothing I couldn't do about that. But honestly, Laugh Track was a fun coaster to be on, even if you take out the roughness and take out all the bright lights. But honestly, they could have done way better with theming and try to hide the supports a little bit more with more theming. Honestly, this coaster could have been top tier if they could have fixed up this couple of things. Instead, put it inside a box, coaster, theming. If they didn't do those three things, this coaster would have been way better. It looked way nicer. But honestly, why did they put it inside a box? I have no clue. But anyways, Laugh Track, honestly, wasn't the best experience, but it wasn't the worst experience that I ever had on a coaster, if you can't tell. But anyways, this is Laugh Track, and the rest of them are going to get worse. Now, the fourth worst coaster I've ever ridden from Ottawa Silk Zone is the roller coaster there. Yes, the roller coaster is not that good of a coaster, but it wasn't that bad. Probably I'd say my most ridden coaster. I'm not 100% positive on that, but it's up there. I know I rode this coaster so many times, but in all reality, this coaster wasn't that bad. I mean, looking back on it now, my first ever coaster still has a soft spot in my heart. It's kind of like 50-50 for this coaster. Honestly, I feel like if I go back there now, it's going to be rough than it was before. So that's why I kind of have it ranked low, keeping my expectations low. Because I haven't seen anything about iWild fixing this up. All of my communities I'm in and all that. But this is roller coaster. Fourth worst coaster that I've ever rode in my life is Little Phantom at Kennywood. Wait, no, this is be the fourth worst. Never mind. This is number 4. But anyways, this coaster's rough and all that, if you can't tell by the camera. Other than that, kiddie coaster, rough kiddie coaster at best. But this coaster really doesn't live up to the hype, and never has, and never will. But this is Little Phantom. Now again to the top 3 worst. Here, taking third is a Wild Mouse coaster. The rest of these are going to be Wild Mouse, but this is the Bear Wild Mouse at Hershey Park. Yes, don't ask me how this is ranked higher than the other 2 Wild Mouses. But this one should be honestly lower. and probably will be lower. I mean, the next one has a lot of frequent stops. I didn't like that. This one, the restraints kind of hurt. Big boy and small compact mouse looking coaster doesn't go well together. As I said before, the seating has to be comfy. It has to be the right amount of space. But yeah, Hershey Park, Wild Mouse didn't live up to that. But honestly, it picked up some speed there, and that's what made it more whippy and more terrible. And honestly, I would have a smoother Wild Mouse than this, but this Wild Mouse was very rough. I couldn't necessarily handle all of this, but Wild Mouses or Wild Mouses, I can't complain with that. I already know going into them, they're going to be rough and wicked and all that. But some Wild Mouses are better than others. Don't know why. There's all different types of Wild Mouses. Don't know how there's all different types of Wild Mouses when there's only one main Wild Mouse that started this whole thing. But other than that, all Wild Mouses are going to be the same, and that's Wild Mouse. The second worst coaster I've ever ridden is also from Iowa Soaks on their Wild Mouse. This Wild Mouse coaster had all the frequent stops I was talking about. But honestly, more family based. Don't get me wrong. The trains on here, more looking kid friendly at the time I rode it because the mouses had like evilish grins and like sharp teeth and all that. Something like a kid wouldn't like and find more like a nightmare. Essentially, what I kind of found this coaster as a little kid riding it. Still think about it to this day. But honestly, they could have made this this train look way better than it was. But honestly, it's quite smooth for a Wild Mouse, if I remember it correctly. I mean, smooth. I mean, slower pace, but what do you expect? But the one big takeaway is all those frequent, like, chop blocks and, like, sections of the track that you instantly, like, pounce on a brake. Like, you're stuck in a traffic jam and, like, going. Then you slam on the brakes because some stupid person decides to slam on the brakes and cause this whole chain reaction. This is essentially what this coaster is like when you hit the certain blocks of the coaster, which I did not like that one bit, and I know some other people don't like that either. But honestly, the coaster was smooth and all that. Don't get me wrong, those there I might almost bang a body part off, but yeah, just frequent stops on Wild Mouses. It's a big takeaway. And that this is the Wild Mouse. I was Soakstone, but I rode this as a little kid, so it might change if I go back to it now. But other than that, this is Wild Mouse. And now the moment you've been waiting for. The worst of the worst coasters. Second year in a row is Fiesta Express. Yes, this coaster is the worst of the worst. I don't care what you all say, but you won't be changing my mind. This coaster could have done way better for the space. They could also take this coaster out and put a different ride in there, like a drop tower or something. As they had all that room for a go-kart track, but not all this room for a roller coaster. You can't make that up. And then plus, on top of it, they have a golf course at Fun for All. But honestly, this coaster has so much more potential than it had. And other than that, this coaster really didn't go that well. And could easily done way better than it did. But anyways, Fiesta Express, really can't make it down the track if you can tell by those tires. To drive it through. It's slow and all that. It's not even that high off the ground. Where a point I can jump off it and survive. Yes, don't ask me why I said that. Why would I ever do that? And yet, dare to manage to jump outside of it and risk my life and others. But other than that, this is Fiesta Express, and I can go die in a fire because it's the worst of the worst, and it'll always be like that. But anyways, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. That's what will make my day. Thank you, and goodbye.